What is up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. It has been a long time, and I just want to say I apologize. It has just become, life has become crazy, and ultimately posting on YouTube has not been a priority for me, but that does not mean I haven't been trading. That does not mean I haven't been doing well on this account, and if you've been with me, then you know that at one point, we took this count all the way down to 71 from our starting point, right? We started this year at 100,000 and we took it down to 70, and here we are back and better than ever. Now, I don't want to bore you guys talking about the account, right? Realistically, what have we done to get here? We've added some leaps. We've sold covered calls. Now, these covered calls are obviously very deep and down and dirty. And at this point, what I'm planning to do with them is I'm really just waiting it out. We have until December before they expire. I don't anticipate anyone would take early assignment, right? I don't anticipate that anyone's going to exercise these early, at least not until we get towards December. So, the reason why I'm waiting it out is because of the fact that the only place I can roll to from here is all the way until 2027. Now, obviously, options are going to start coming around for 2026 as we get closer. So that's a big reason why I'm waiting it out. But worst possible case, I could already roll all the way up to like $88 for a credit. Now, again, that would make me have to wait a year. Would I wait the whole year? Absolutely not. Obviously, if we had a really big bearish day, right, or maybe not day, but month, right, if we went into another bear cycle, then I'd probably have a chance to get out without having to wait the year. But ultimately, that is my position with that. Now, when it comes to the actual shares, right, where we're at, we are still at down 3,000, but still tremendous compared to where we used to be, which was like down 12,000. And this IBIT position, I mean, this is really wheeling and dealing at the highest level. We sold puts on IBIT and we have just been cashing out on covered calls ever since. And now we've cashed out on our entry, right? We're up $12,000 on this IBIT position. That's why I chose IBIT. I knew IBIT was an asset that I trusted to wheel. I knew TQQQ was too. A lot of people said, be afraid of TQQQ. Even like buying leaps on these assets, everyone called me crazy. But I just didn't see the issue because to me, I see more risk in the individual stocks, right? Like let's look at BABA. You see how BABA is just gapped down over the last couple days. But when you look at SPY and you see it's just flown up, to me, that's where the risk is, right? Like obviously majority of stocks have been going up. Netflix, most of them, right? Most of the ones you click are going up. But even Microsoft, how it's created a daily bearish, been bearish on the daily compared to the S&P, which is still going up, right? So I knew getting into UPRO and TQQQ that I wouldn't have those problems. Obviously the decay, and as you can see, like this downward movement was crazy. Like I survived all of this, right? This went from $88 all the way to, 35, and I was selling puts the entire time until I got assigned and then selling calls. So with all that being said, that was my strategy from the beginning, was sticking to assets I wouldn't have to lose sleep over. And ultimately that's how I came to IBIT, TQQQ, and UPRO. Now, what everyone wants to talk about is the credit spreads, which this has been a huge factor in growing my account faster, is just trading credit spreads. Now, why are credit spreads so great? Is because I'm able to sell puts on SPX. It's really that simple, right? I've been able to sell calls on SPX and I've been able to sell puts on SPX. But if you wanted to do it the regular way, I mean, look at the price per share, right? You would need $590,000 worth of collateral. This position right here cost me, I believe, $4,000 or $3,000 worth of collateral. And as you can see, we sold the put. So what did we do? We sold the 5,900 put. Now, what was the technical analysis, right? Let's just make it really simple. So the expiration is for tomorrow, Monday, because today's Friday. And to me, I just do not see us getting below 5,900 by Monday. And if we did, it would be the end of the day, New York, which usually I close it right when, the market opens. If I'm going to hold something like this where, the expiration is Monday, you can almost imagine just by looking at the simulated returns that, realistically, I mean, let's just look at the time, right? So by, here we go, 8 a.m., if we were even at our current price, would be up 400. Now, obviously, if we made a move up by 8 a.m., we'd already be up 700. So most of the time, I usually just end up closing because, when the stock market opens, that's when things can get very volatile. And obviously, if let's just say Monday was a bearish day, it would easily be able to rip below this. But I don't see any of that happening over the weekend. I don't see any of that happening today. So for the most part, I plan on just holding this position through. But, it's tough, man. These credit spreads, they really do allow you to cash out on wins quick, take high quality trades quickly. And overall, I've been able to make an extra, I think 3,000 or 4,000 over the last month. I've just been trading it slowly. You know, like I said, this position right here was a couple thousand worth of collateral. The max loss would have been, let's see, you know, 2,500, which is honestly higher than what I normally go for, but I was confident in the position. So, you know, basically that's been all that we've been doing. You know, part of the reason why I stopped making YouTube videos was because the content was definitely getting stale. Overall, like, it's just, I haven't done much with the account, because you get to a certain point with the market where you have to just trust what you're doing, right? So the credit spreads has brought on a new day trading element, and ultimately everything has been great growing this account back. And now people might want to say, oh, you know, well, you went MIA, right? How do we know you didn't just put more money into the account? Well, let's just go to the deposits real quick so you guys can even see that. Now, where do I get there? Let's see, account, right? Transfers. Here we go. All right, there you go. The last deposit was February 25th. You know, so I have not put a single penny in. I have 100% rode this the entire way through. And I've been posting on TikTok. So make sure to follow me on TikTok, Jared the Option Seller. I've been still posting practically every single day. So if you really do miss me, check me out over there. But overall, in terms of YouTube, it's just hard for me to find the time to post every day the way I used to. I've just, you know, finally got to a point in my life where it's just, you know, just hard to have the time. You know, I'm just doing a lot of other things. I've been able to, you know, fortunately fill my time with other businesses and other things, but I'm still trading consistently. Honestly, everything truly has been better than I could have ever expected it to be. I don't know how this came back on, but whatever. You know, these are a bunch of old businesses anyway. I don't have anything to do with any of these things. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do apologize that it's been so long. I hate to leave you all hanging, but to everyone who's been with me from the beginning, you know, shout out to you. Here we are back at 100,000, and I will continue to, you know, at least give you guys updates, right? I'm not depositing any more money into this account. If anything, I'll withdraw when we get towards, you know, start getting into the higher profits, right? We started with 100, maybe when we get to like 120, 130, 140, I don't know. But for now, it's just been weathering the storm, riding the storm. And that's the thing about being an option seller, guys, right? Is the storm never ends. Because look at all of these calls that I'm currently sitting in that are down. Now, ultimately, I'm not worried about majority of them, especially the IBIT ones. The IBIT ones are, you know, only in June, right? The TQQQ and the UPRO, so I've already rolled to January, so it's a little more concerning. But, you know, the TQQQ is 400 shares. The leaps are where it gets a little sticky, right? Because even like buying a leap 2 years out, that's really nothing when it comes to the explosive moves that we've been getting, right? You could so easily roll 2 years out, you know, after a couple of weeks, which is what's already happened. So that's that, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you feel like you got something out of it. At the very least, if you actually cared about where my account has been or what I've been up to, then I hope at the very least you got a little taste of that. In terms of the credit spread strategy, again, it's really just following the trend and trying to sell below a low. Similar to selling puts, right? When you sell puts, you really do win a lot of trades before you start taking losses. And it's the same thing with credit spreads. So when you take a max loss, in a lot of ways, that's actually better than getting assigned, because sometimes when you get assigned, you know, it could lead to months. Like obviously right now the wheeling is working, but like even thinking about this TQQQ position, this was down, you know, 12 to 15K at one point. So, you know, yes, at least with the credit spread, you know, you might get a max loss, might be at 2,000. It's not, you know, turning into a year and 12K, but of course the wheel strategy is the safest if it's an asset you trust, right? Because you know it'll eventually come back up, and maybe you'll even have a position like this with IBIT. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you feel like you got something out of it, and you know, make sure to follow me on TikTok. That's where I'm posting consistently. I'll put a link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one whenever that is.